Alright guys, what's up? This is Beautiful Inker Joe bringing you another video. I know that way earlier on I said I was going to do nation breakdowns and see if I can do videos about the different clans in each nation, and I'm actually going to try and keep up to that. So the first video is going to be the Zoo Nation, and specifically I'm going to start with Neonectars. I was originally going to start with what is it? Mega Colony, because they're the simplest, because there's only so many decks you can do. They have no support coming out until set 15, if those of you who know what's going to happen in the next couple of months in the Japanese format, like Bushiroad, sending all these stuff out. So instead, because I don't have my Mega Colonies on me right now, I have my Neonectars, and specifically I have Musketeers. But first I want to talk about what exactly Neonectars do specifically. Now, Neonectars are a clan that a lot of their lore is based off of providing the food and the sustenance for the different nations all across the planet of Krayt. And so, because of that, a lot of them are bioroids or dryads. They're plant people, or they're actual plants that came alive, or they're animals that are part of nature. But that is what they are. They provide all of the food. They are literally vegetation. And because of that, their playstyle is literally multiplying. Sort of like pollination, so to speak, because a lot of their boss monsters or a lot of their other units require them to use very little counterblast to superior call from the deck other units of either the same name or with something with its name in its description, such as Musketeers, and I'll get more into that when we get into the deck profile. I want to do a deck profile of what mine looks like near the end of the video, but for now I'm just sort of, like I said, breaking down what the clan does. And like, I'll use the example of Maiden of the Trailing Rose. It's a Persona Blaster. Counterblast 1, drop her from hand. You superior call 2 units from the top of your deck, I think, and then place them on open rearguard. Is that what it does?
Which one?
Trailing Rose? The Persona Blaster? The top 2, right? Or am I allowed to search?
I think it's top 4.
Top 4? I think so too. Anyway, yeah, you can look and just make sure that I'm not misquoting the card effect. That's Trailing Rose. Sephiroth lets you gain power for it gains power for every copy of itself on the field. Ergo, you get more.
Apparently, its limit break is for every card that has the same name.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Oh.
It gains the power from the rear guards with the same name as him. So, it gains power from other units on the field. So that's why they gain the power from sort of pollinations in vegetation. That's what they do. Musketeers, literally, they kill something off just to reborn it again. So it's kind of like planting and growing, harvesting, and then regrowing. Top 5?
Top 5.
Okay, Trailing Rose is top 5, and then Superior Call 2 onto the field. But those are like the 3 main decks as of right now. Before set 15, I think, is when they get more support. I am so excited because we get more Musketeers. Musketeers get their new Perfect Guard. I consider him the ultimate bro. Who wouldn't consider him the ultimate bro? He is literally Musketeer of the Red Rose. He's romance. He is the ultimate bro. Anyway,
he is fabulous.
He's fabulous. Anyway, moving on. We get a new stand trigger, which is actually pretty broken as hell. We have a Bellicosity clone, which, if you don't know what that does, if it hits a Vanguard, unflip 1 damage, which means it's good because Musketeers use not a lot of counterblast, but they use quite a bit of counterblast in order to use their effects. And Neonectars in general aren't very counterblast heavy. A lot of them are just counterblast 1, whereas, say, Kagero or Narukami are counterblast 2 or 3, which is what makes them sort of really viable. And actually, they can be pretty spammy. I sort of joke about Musketeers being able to do what Gold Paladins do, but they just do it better, and they do it faster.
Not even a joke, bro.
It's not a joke. I'm honestly being serious, and you can agree with me, you can disagree with me, but I honestly think that Musketeers have more consistency than a lot of gold Paladin decks. So, with that in mind, I'm going to show you some basic strategies of what the deck does with the deck profile that I have. So going down to my Musketeer deck. Now, okay, first off, this isn't mine. I essentially did a deal with this guy. His name is Dan Cornelius. He's a really cool guy. He's on the North American Vanguard page. He posts quite a bit. He's always looking for stuff, and he's a nice guy to talk to. If you get a chance, see if you can do a deal with him. He's a super cool guy. I traded my Dark Irregular deck for his Musketeer deck because he didn't want it, and I didn't want my Dark Irregulars because it didn't work for me. And you know, that's part of the game, figuring out which clans work for you. I really like this deck. I'm super grateful for him, and I tell him now that this deck works wonders. It's always fun to use, and I can't really say anything else. I've had a lot of fun using it. But here is the basic deck profile. Since this is his build, I didn't change anything because I like the way it is now. But here's the starter. The starter is Broccolini Musketeer Kira, which is basically Counterblast 1, check top 5 for grade 3. That's all you need to know. The only reason that he chose 2 was because his thinking was you want to be able to use the other Musketeers' skills as much as possible. And their skills is to retire 1 unit with Musketeer in its name, to check the top 4, to call another Musketeer on the field. So that's why he has 2. It just gives you another target with Musketeer. So, continuing on with the grade 0s, in his deck he ran 8 crit, 4 draw, 4 heal. I changed it up to give it a little bit more speed and to deck thin out as much Musketeers as possible. So instead, I made it 6-6-4. So, what I do is I run 4 fairy, 4-leaf fairy. The artwork is awesome. It's a vanilla, don't really need to talk about it. And then I run 2 Dancing Sunflower. Freaking awesome card. He's a super chill guy. He's breakdancing the fuck out of it. He's enjoyed life. I was probably switching 4 and 2, but I could care less. They're just draw triggers. Next is 2 Chestnut Bullet, and then your Musketeer crit trigger, Night Queen Musketeer Daniel. He's a Musketeer target if you do happen to check this in the top 4. I'll get more into that later. And then you got your heal, which is Hibiscus Musketeer Hana, or Hana, however you want to pronounce it. That's it. Those are the triggers. Going into grade 1s. Run 4 Lily of the Valley Musketeer Rebecca. Jesus. Okay. 7k. It's a skill. If it's called on rear guard or Vanguard Circle, if you write it, Counterblast 1. Retire a Musketeer on the field. Check your top 4. Call a Musketeer on your field. This can get pretty interesting, and it's happened to me a lot of the time. Rebecca's a bit of a whore in this deck. You can literally chain this card's effect. You can call 1 to rear guard. Use its skill. Counterblast 1. Check the top 4. Call another Rebecca. Use this Rebecca to kill this Rebecca to do it again. The deck does a lot of deck compression. It thins out the deck so much. And that's what I kind of like about this deck, because it allows the deck to thin out so you can go into your triggers more quickly so that you can put more pressure on your opponent. And this deck rushes really fast. Like, turn 2, turn 3, this deck can be really, really aggressive. And the limit break of the boss monster is actually not that bad either. But yeah, that is essentially what the deck does. You counterblast to remove 1, to gain 1. Next, you have 4 of the K clone, which is the 10k grade 1 attacker, Water Lily Musketeer Ruth. Not really much to go into there. The non-Musketeer stuff in here, we lack. Here in the TCG, we lack the Musketeer Dandelion. If you don't know what Dandelion does, every time the deck was shuffled, it gains 3,000 power, which makes it a 9,000 rear guard. So instead of that,
boosting.
Yeah, when it boosts. Instead, we get Corolla Dragon, which is not bad. It's just an 8k booster. the most we'll ever hit in a column is 19 or 20k, and this helps a lot. The last thing that's not Musketeer is the Perfect Guard, and we will get that in set 15, I believe. So for now, you use Maiden of Blossom Ray, and I only use 3 because he uses the 2 Perfect Guards. So, I mean, not Perfect Guards, grade 0 starter. And that's it for grade 1s. Grade 2s. 2 of the damage adder, which is Tulip Musketeer Almira. This helps in if it were turn 2. Let's say I ride her, counterblast 1, add 1 in there. Then I can use, say, Rebecca, or combo with this one, Kayvon, which is the grade 2 version of Rebecca. Counterblast 1, retire a Musketeer, and then call 1 from the top top 4. This combos with this actually pretty well. You ride this, add the damage. Now you have a free damage, and you can just keep going from there depending on how much damage you get. And then, lastly, you have 4 of the Bedivere clone or the 12k attacker, Cherry Blossom Musketeer Augusto. A lot of these I actually like the art. This one's actually pretty cool. I like the art of all of them, but this one's pretty cool. Anyway, moving on. Lastly are the grade 3s, and because it's Musketeers and you want to add the consistency, you need 4 White Lily Musketeer Cecilia. Cecilia's first effect, Limit Break, activate, counterblast 1. Add 5 Musketeer non-triggers, which means not this one and not this one. Add 5 Musketeers back from your graveyard to the deck, put them at the bottom, then search for up to 2 copies to her, which means you can choose 1, or you can choose 2. Choose up to 2, and put them in rear guards in the front row, and then shuffle your deck. Like I said, Neonectars focus on repollinating, vegetation, cropping to regrow. It's literally all they do. And with that, this also combos with her second ability, which is Activate. You retire 1, check the top 5, not 4, 5, and then call. So what you can do is you Limit Break, you put back 5, call these 2, then kill this off to get maybe Augusto or Kayvon or Rebecca, and you just keep going, and you keep going, depending on how much open rearguard you have. Not rearguard, open counterblast that you have. And with the new Velocity clone, this can go on for quite a while. And it just depends on how you're able to play. This deck is actually fairly simple, very straightforward, as you can plainly see as I'm describing this to you. There's literally no other strategy except to call from your deck. And I honestly don't think that I really need to go into more detail about this. So with that, the last card is 3 Black Lily Musketeer Herman. Herman is literally, if it's boosted, gets plus 2k. That's it. It's only there. It's the only other grade 3 target that we have currently for Musketeers, and it's a not bad target because if you have Rebecca or if you have Ruth as rearguard, this becomes a 19k column, and if you have Corolla as rearguard, this becomes 20k. There's nothing wrong with that. This is just another target to thin out the deck. I would try and not, when comboing with Cecilia, I try to not put as many grade 3s back in deck because grade 3s tend to be more dead in hand, especially when you're getting close to endgame, when you have little fodder for your sentinels, your perfect guards. So that's one thing you want to keep in mind. But that is essentially the deck profile, and that is what Neonectars do in total. So I hope that maybe this helps you figure out how to counter Neonectars. Maybe you learned a little bit more about Neonectars that you didn't at first. But I hope this was informative, as my voice is going hoarse. I hope this was informative to you guys. Maybe I helped you guys. I really like this clan. Take this as an advantage. Use it to study up on strategies for your deck, how you can make your deck better, how to counter other clans. I'm going to see if I can do more videos for other clans as well, so that you guys are more aware of what you can do against certain clans, in case you didn't already know. So, Beautiful Leaper Joe signing off. I hope you enjoyed this video. Remember, keep calm, and Henshin a go-go, baby.